Let's go. This is your boy. Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge us to the game. Make sure you guys, as always, smash that like button. It's always humbling to be in the presence of beautiful people. You guys are spectacular. You guys are amazing. You guys are always locked in on the content. And trust me, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the traction. I'm seeing the growth. I'm seeing all the engagement that you guys are providing to the channel. And I do not take that for granted. You guys, we always got to start the show with gratitude, right? We always have to start the show with gratitude because we know our lives could be very different. And some of us are probably going through things that may not be optimal. Some of us may be dealing with some pretty dark times in our respective households, but just know my goal here is to give you a break. My goal here is to give you some sort of reprieve, although I may not be able to know exactly what you are going through, right? I want to be able to at least give you some sort of break, some sort of reprieve, some sort of relaxation, something that you can plug into while you unplug from something else, right? So overall, man, I appreciate you guys for always locking in on the content. You guys are tremendous. You guys are amazing. I do not take it for granted. So make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. The content has been in full effect. I love the way you guys showed out for that Weapon X interview. That was pretty cool. I love the way you guys showed out for Monday's live stream as well. You guys are awesome. S Blunt, what's going on, my man? My man S Blunt saying welcome back like I was gone for like a month. What's going on, man? Look, I get it. I spoiled y'all, man. Live streams every single day. I get it. I spoiled y'all a little bit. So when you guys don't see me, you guys feel like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And also, I don't have the greatest track record with you guys. And I want to make sure I respect that as well. So I want to make sure it's clear where I stand with you guys, man. The content is going to keep flowing one way or another, right? It is the off season, so there will be a day or two where there's just not quite anything to talk about. But when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, we're going to always find something to talk about, right? And we're going to talk about the very reason we all came here today. We are going to talk about the schedule. We are going to talk about what our future may hold as Philadelphia Eagles fans, right? And I know a lot of you guys were expecting me to talk about it yesterday. Had some things come up in my personal life. Had to make sure I took care of that. But I want to talk to you guys about this schedule, man, because I looked at it and there's only really one thing I really have a problem with. But we're going to go over it step by step. And I want to get you guys, and I want to get your perspective on this because this is something that I don't know. You guys tell me. I like the schedule outside of one thing, right? Let's start with the bad news. Let's start with the cons. A week 5 bye week is criminal. Let's just get right into it, right? A week 5 bye week is criminal. Let's skip past these preseason games. All right, there we go. So you got Green Bay week 1, the Atlanta Falcons week 2, New Orleans Saints week 3, Tampa Bay Buccaneers week 4, a week 5 bye week, which I have a real big problem with, like I said. Week 6, the Cleveland Browns. Then you got the Giants week 7. Week 8, Bengals. Week 9, Jaguars. Week 10, Dallas Cowboys. Week 11, Washington Commanders. Week 12, Rams. 13, Ravens. 14, Panthers. 15, Steelers. 16, Commanders. 17, Cowboys. 18, Giants. So, again, just starting from the top, when I look at the schedule, we all knew we were playing the Packers, in week 1 in Sao Paulo. That's going to be on Peacock. And the Atlanta Falcons, I think that leaked as well We knew that was coming, a Monday Night Football game. But we're starting the season out with the NFC South outside of the Green Bay Packers. I mean, you got the Packers, NFC North, then 3 straight games of the NFC South. I feel like all 4 of those games are very, very winnable. The Packers are a good team. I do not want to take that for granted. The Packers are a very, very, very good team. But honestly, outside of that, I don't see why the Philadelphia Eagles can't go 4-0 prior to the bye week. I don't see why they can't. Because when I look at the schedule, the toughest stretch, in my opinion, the toughest stretch looks like Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jags, Cowboys. Or the toughest stretch may be Bengals, Jags, Cowboys, Commanders, Rams, Ravens. That might be the toughest stretch right there. That because I think the Commanders are better than the Giants. So that may be the toughest stretch. Bengals at Bengals. So on the road in Cincinnati, home against the Jaguars, on the road against the Cowboys, home against the Commanders, on the road against the Rams, on the road against the Ravens. That may be the toughest stretch. So the Philadelphia Eagles, although I am a fan of the schedule. I like the way it's constructed. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with anything except for the bye week. That's my only issue. I can't stand early bye weeks. Early bye weeks are they feel almost pointless. And I'm always curious to know, and maybe you guys know more than me. I'm always curious to know how they decide where they place the bye weeks. Because me personally, I like my bye weeks to hang around week 10, week 11. That's an optimal bye week in my humble opinion. But a week 5 bye week, what have they done? They haven't even done anything yet. You feel what I'm saying? Like what Knicks, I mean, look, I don't want to dismiss the job these guys have, right? But what Knicks and bruises have they earned in 4 weeks? That's just me. Especially when you start the season off playing Packers, Falcons, Saints, Buccaneers. Now look, here's the thing. The Falcons have gotten better. The Buccaneers, they brought back Mike Evans, re-signed him. They re-signed Antoine Winfield. You know, we did lose to the Buccaneers in the playoffs on the road, but we also beat them last year too. We split last year. But again, the Buccaneers, that's a team that the Philadelphia Eagles lost to last time they played. Last time the Eagles played the Saints, they lost. Granted, very different situation. The Falcons. So what I want to do, I want to go through week by week with you guys, right? Let's do that. Let's go week by week. And then we could tap into, we can kind of compare the rosters, right? So let's do it. So week 1, you got the Green Bay Packers. And also what we're going to do, right? As we go through this week by week, we're going to figure out, and I'm going to give you guys whether I feel like it's a win or a loss. And I want you guys to go through this with me, right? We're going to keep track of this, okay? So if you want, get a pen and paper, get your phone out, get your notes. We're going to go through, and maybe you guys have already done this. Maybe you guys have already looked at it week by week and said to yourselves, okay, that's a win, that's a loss, that's a win, that's a win, that's a win, that's a loss. Maybe you guys have already done that, right? But I'm going to keep track of this. And I'm going to mark down which games I believe are wins and which game I believe are losses, right? And prior to this, I said to you guys that with the roster constructed as it presently is and knowing what we knew about the teams they would play, I felt like the Philadelphia Eagles at worst would go 11-6, and at best maybe 12-5, maybe, just maybe 13-4. But I think 11-6 and 12-5 is very, very reasonable, and I like this schedule. But again, let's see if my original prediction lines up with how I go through this week by week, especially how the schedule is constructed now. Because although we knew the teams they would play, when you play them and where you play them is something that's going to really turn the tide. Momentum is a real thing in the league. So let's go through it week by week. So the Green Bay Packers, week 1, in Sao Paulo, in a neutral site. Now, I think the Philadelphia Eagles win that game. I think they had the more loaded off. I think they had the better offense. Now, I think Green Bay has a better defense. I think Green Bay has a better defense than the Philadelphia Eagles as we presently know it. As we presently know it. Right? That team is very young in Green Bay. The Eagles have gotten younger as well. But I think that's a game the Philadelphia Eagles win. And look, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, the Packers, right? On that roster, Jordan Love is coming into his own, right? They brought in Josh Jacobs at running back and still have A.J. Dillon behind them. They got Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and Jaden Reed at wide receiver. Now, Christian Watson, very, very effective player, but can he stay healthy? Will he be healthy come week 1? That's something that's been a struggle for Christian Watson. As of right now, he's healthy. Romeo Doubs, he's a player that's starting to come into his own. Jaden Reed. Then they got the tight end, Luke Musgrave, a guy who's starting to come into his own, right? Offensive line, not that bad. And then on defense, that's where their guys are, right? They got Quay Walker. They drafted Edgerrin Cooper. They got Jair Alexander. They got the young player, the young corner, Eric Stokes. They just signed Eric McKinney to a big deal, right? Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary. They're talented on defense. They're very talented on their side of the ball. So this is a game where you ask yourself, right? Will the Philadelphia Eagles offense be able to outplay that Green Bay defense? Or will the Green Bay offense take advantage of a questionable Eagles defense, or let's just say unproven? I think that's something that we gotta pay attention to, especially seeing what they did to the Cowboys in their own home turf. Now, granted, that was last season. A lot can change. Sometimes it comes down to who's ever healthiest come week 1. But that's going to be a tough matchup, and I think that game is going to be uglier than pretty. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles win that game. I don't have a score, but I think they win that game. So, Green Bay, I got that as a win. I got that as a win versus Green Bay. So that puts them at 1-0. Now, ATL, the Falcons, right? And I want to get y'all opinion as well. Fitness Warrior says that's a loss. As Blunt says, our offensive weapons will be too much for them. Their wide receivers are okay. I think Green Bay had a great playoff run, but they were mid throughout the regular season. That is very true. Throughout the regular season, they were very up and down. They had runs. They had momentum swings or shifts. They never really strung together consistent football over the course of 7, 8, or 9 weeks, like the Philadelphia Eagles have been proven to do over the past couple seasons. Still, though, they're a team that's growing more confident. The quarterback is growing more confident. I think Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love have something working out over there. I think those players will be better this season, especially now that the confidence has elevated to a level that we probably didn't see it elevating to because of that Cowboys win. But again, that was last season. So much more has to be proven. But I do think the Eagles win that game against Green Bay. So 1-0. The Atlanta Falcons. I think the Philadelphia Eagles win that game. It's the home opener. It's Kirk Cousins. Prime time, by the way. Prime time, Kirk Cousins. On top of that, remember, I believe in the mental gymnastics. I believe in mental warfare. And I believe the Atlanta Falcons, whether they want to accept it or not, they planted a landmine in their locker room. It's my opinion. And that landmine goes by the name of Michael Penix. Yes, Kirk Cousins came out saying, "Hey, we'll be all right." But he's on record. His representation, his agent, and him are on record indicating that they were not pleased, to say the least. They were not pleased with the drafting of Michael Penix. You paid Kirk Cousins what you paid him. It's very, very strange. But I believe because of the primetime matchup, because Kirk Cousins doesn't have the greatest luck at Lincoln Financial Field in primetime when he was playing with the Vikings, I also believe they implanted a landmine in their own locker room with Michael Penix. So I'm willing to argue that although Kirk Cousins is the multi-million-dollar player, I'm willing to argue that he's going to be kind of moving around a little funny in that building. And the moment he has a bad game or two or three, that team is going to start to turn on him. I hope not, but you never know. Anything can happen. But I think the Eagles beat the Falcons at home in Philadelphia. Prime time. I think the Eagles win that game. So I got that as a win. Also, on top of that, just want to go through Atlanta's roster, right? The Atlanta Falcons, they have gotten better. You got Kirk Cousins. Also, Kirk Cousins is coming off of the ACL tear or the Achilles. I forget exactly what he hurt. I forget exactly what it was. But regardless, Kirk Cousins coming off of a catastrophic lower body injury, lower leg injury. He never was mobile to begin with. So now, how much more mobile can he be after having an extreme lower body injury? I think the likelihood of him being mobile or as mobile, if he was mobile at all, is very slim. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be playing inside of a box. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be easy pickings for most top tier D lines in the NFL because of his lack of mobility and the confidence, right? Getting your confidence back in the pocket. He hasn't played football in a long time. So I think the Falcons are going to want to get him involved in the preseason, but then they may be a little tricky about it because of the recent injury history. So you catch Kirk Cousins slipping in week 2 in prime time, coming off of a major injury with Michael Penix breathing down his neck. I think the Philadelphia Eagles win that game. I got the Eagles going 2-0 so far through the first 2 weeks. Looking at the roster, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Rondale Moore, Kyle Pitts. They got weapons over there. The offensive line is improved. They got weapons. The defense is improved with Jesse Bates. They got A.J. Terrell over there, Grady Jarrett. The defense is improved. The offense is improved. But can they put it together? Can Kirk Cousins reinvigorate that offense, right? Can he maximize that young talent? I still think, and they got a new coach, and they got a new head coach. So I think I think there are too many variables, and the Eagles are home. There are too many variables going against the Falcons. Way too many variables going against them in that Monday night matchup. So I'm rolling with the Eagles in that game. All right, let's go to week 3. Week 3, the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans. I got that as a win for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now it's on the road, and the Philadelphia Eagles don't have the best of luck in New Orleans, in the Superdome. We don't really do well there. But I think we can beat them. I think that's a situation that's more murky than clear. I don't trust the quarterback and Derek Carr. Chris Olave is a weapon, is a player that's going to be dangerous. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles can handle that. What's Michael Thomas's future? Is he still with the Saints, or did they cut him? I can't quite remember. I think he's still on the roster. But I haven't personally been impressed with what the Saints have done in the offseason. The Saints haven't really done much in the offseason to really blow my mind. Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, and Jamal Williams. You got a two-headed monster. You got Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, who for some reason always gets the best out of one of our corners. They did draft the new offensive lineman in Talise Fuanga, Cam Jordan, and they got Chase Young as well. Don't forget that. The Saints did sign Chase Young. They also got Willie Gay that they brought in free agency. They got Tyrann Mathieu and Marshawn Lattimore. So that defense is not that bad. But I'm still not sold on their coaching. I'm not sold on the quarterback. I'm not sold on their offensive line. Cameron Jordan, OG in the game. How much does he have left in the tank? Will Father Time finally catch up to him? Can Chase Young reinvigorate his career? Will Willie Gay have a smooth transition from the Chiefs to the Saints? Marshawn Lattimore and Tyrann Mathieu, those are the two guys I pay attention to the most on their defense, and Cam Jordan, of course. And they did draft Kool-Aid McKinstry. The Saints did draft Kool-Aid McKinstry. I forgot about that. So we'll see. But I still think that Philadelphia Eagles win that game, even on the road. I think they win that game. All right. So let me write that down. That's a win. I got the Eagles going 3-0 through the first 3 weeks. Now, and by the way, you guys, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you guys remain engaged in the content. I really appreciate the love and the support. Let's keep this thing rolling. And I apologize if you guys are experiencing any sort of connectivity issues throughout the live stream. It's a lot of bad weather going on in Texas, and Wi-Fi has been a little funny. But let's pray. Let's pray this thing holds up, right? I appreciate you guys being here. Let's do some quick shout outs. Shout out to my man Forrest Hill, Fitness Warrior, S Blunt, So Dope King, M Reyes, Bo 1990, my man PFT, Pro Fan Talk, Philly Flyover Shorts, James Jones, Jay Rena. Really appreciate you guys being here. Ray Bailey, Marge Simpson, Moore Bay. Thank you guys for being here. It means a lot. Goes a long way for the kind. A-Track, what's going on? Little G Griffith, hope all is well. Hope all is well. Ewing 609, what's good, my man? All right. So they did cut Michael Thomas. All right. Let's go to the next matchup. As a reminder, I have the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Packers. I have them beating the Falcons. And I have them beating the Saints. I had the Eagles starting the season 3-0. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road again. So you're going to stay down south. Go from New Orleans to Tampa. I got the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, obviously, they got one over us in the playoffs, and they're very confident going into that game. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to make it a point to beat the Buccaneers. I think that's a game that they have circled at least in the first 4 weeks. The Philadelphia Eagles know they're better than the Buccaneers. They know that they're more talented than the Buccaneers. They know that they're just overall better, without question. They had the better offensive line. They had the better. They had the better skill position guys in total, right? AJ Brown and Mike Evans, take your pick. I'll take Devontae Smith over Chris Godwin, but Chris Godwin has had 1,000-yard seasons regularly in his career, so take your pick there. Dallas Goedert, I'll take Dallas Goedert over their tight end. Who's their tight end? Let me double check that real quick. I think it's let's see here. All right, Tampa Bay. So yeah, I'll take Jalen Hurts over Baker Mayfield. I'll take Saquon Barkley over Rashad White. I'll take A.J. Brown over Mike Evans today. I'll take Devontae Smith over Chris Godwin today. I'll take Dallas Goedert over Cade Otton today, even though Cade Otton killed us in the playoffs last year. I'll take, let's see here. The offensive line. I think the Philadelphia Eagles have the better offensive line. On defense, Kalijah Cansey, Vita Vea, Logan Hall, KJ Britt, Levante David, Antoine Winfield Jr. They got some talent on that side. Also, Devin White makes his return to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he has that game circled as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the matchups go. Darius Slay versus Chris Godwin, and you put Darius Slay on Mike Evans, you put Quinyon Mitchell on Chris Godwin. Unless Chris Godwin plays primarily in the slot, then that may be a Avonte Maddox or a Cooper DeJean situation or Isaiah Rodgers. You never know. Or depending on how things schematically line up, CJ Gardner-Johnson. It all remains to be seen. But I just think the Philadelphia Eagles are more talented than the Buccaneers, top to bottom. I think they have the better. And again, I understand the Buccaneers beat us in the playoffs, but I think it's a new season. The Buccaneers did pay Baker Mayfield, but I still don't trust what they're doing over there. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are just the better team, and the Eagles just got caught lacking when they did. So I'm rolling with the Eagles. I'm rolling with the Eagles versus Tampa Bay. So I got the Eagles starting the season 4-0 before the bye week. S. Blunt has us going 4-0. So through the first 4 weeks of the season, Eagles fans, where do you have the Philadelphia Eagles finishing the first 4 weeks? Fitness Warrior says 2-2. Wow. Fitness Warrior says 2-2. What else you guys got through the first 4 weeks? What do you got? What's your record for the Philadelphia Eagles? What do you got? S. Blunt says 4-0. Fitness Warrior says 2-2. Philly Flyover says 4-0. Cameron Holmes says 4-0. Jay Rena 4-0. And here's another thing, right? Forest Hill says 3-1, lost to Green Bay. Philly D says 4-0. By the way, a loss throughout this stretch isn't out of the question. But I have them going 4-0. So if someone told me they got the Philadelphia Eagles going 3-1 and they lose to the Packers, I'm gonna be like, okay, all right. I'm not gonna argue with them. A loss is very possible through this 4-game stretch because the Falcons have improved, the Packers have improved. But I'm not pegging it as a loss. But I wouldn't be mad or I wouldn't argue with somebody if they said, yeah, I got them going 3-1. Especially with the travel to Brazil, right? But that's why I'm glad it's the first game. And that leads me to my next point. Although I'm not a fan of the bye week being in week 5, I think the league is doing the Philadelphia Eagles a favor having the bye week that early. Hear me out on this. You got to fly to Brazil to play a tough Week 1 matchup against the Packers. Then you fly home for a Monday night game against the Falcons, a team that's better. So you go to Brazil to play the Packers. Lord knows how long the flight is. You come home to play the Falcons on Monday Night Football, primetime game. Then you got to go back on the road to New Orleans to play the Saints. Then you're still on the road and you got to play Tampa Bay. So when you couple all that in together, all that travel, I'm not as mad at the bye week, even though I still don't like it. But because the way they structured the matchups and the travel, I understand why the bye week is where it is. Although I'm not a fan of an early bye week, I understand why they did what they did. 3 road games in the first 4 weeks. On top of that, you're flying to Brazil. Then you got to double back to Philly and then switch over to New Orleans and then Tampa Bay. That's a lot. That's a lot of travel. But overall, I think the schedule is easier. And overall, I think the Eagles, like my man Brian Davis just said, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are the most improved team that they'll face in the first 4 weeks. So moving on. I got the Philadelphia Eagles going 4-0 in the first 4 weeks. The bye week is week 5. Ewing has the Eagles going 3-1 with a loss to the Saints. You know what's funny, Ewing? Although I have the Eagles going 4-0, I feel like if there's going to be any loss, I feel like it would happen in New Orleans. And not because the Saints did something extravagant. The Eagles just don't do well in that dome for some reason. I don't know what that's about. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are more likely to lose in New Orleans than they are in Brazil. But I still have them going 4-0. All right, let's move on to week 6. Week 6, you have the Cleveland Browns. That is going to be a tough matchup. That Browns defense is legitimate. Deshaun Watson will be healthier. Amari Cooper, David Njoku. Will Nick Chubb be back? What's the update on Nick Chubb's health? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Sunday, 1 o'clock. You come off the bye week, you're well rested. The Browns. Who do the Cleveland Browns play the week prior? Ooh. Interesting. So we might. You guys. Okay, here. Listen to this. Okay, let's listen to this though. Right, I'm about to show you guys something. Peep game. I'm about to show you guys something. Look at this. I'm about to show you the Browns schedule, and I'm going to tell you why we beat them. I'm going to show you exactly why we beat them, even though the Browns, their first part of the schedule is okay. But I'm going to show you why we beat the Browns. Look at this. I want you guys to tell me why we beat the Browns in week 6. Tell me why. Look at that. Look at their schedule and tell me why we beat them. Before I give you my answer. The Philadelphia Eagles play the Browns in week 6. Can anybody give me a reason why we beat them? Bo says home game. Go further than that. Go further than that, Bo. Go further. Don't think from the Eagles' perspective. Think from their perspective. Go further, Bo. You're there. Go further. Karen Holmes says traveling back and forth between tough teams. You're on it. 3 road games in a row. Vegas, yes, Doomsday, spot on. You and Cameron are right on it. 3 road games in a row. Cleveland has to go to Las Vegas. Then they got to go to Washington. And then they got to hop on the bus and get to Philly. 3 road games in a row. I'm willing to argue the Raiders and the Washington Commanders are going to soften them up for us by the time they beat us, or by the time they come make it to Philly. So I think the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Browns. Listen, the Browns are good. This isn't even about their talent. The Browns are a very, very, very good team. Very good team. But I think the Eagles catch them at the end of their road stretch. They catch them lacking at the end of their road stretch. I think that's going to matter. You guys got to put it in perspective. All that, the travel, all that, and then obviously injuries matter too, but I think the Eagles win that game because they had the advantage. The Eagles are going to be coming off the bye week, while the Browns are going to be on the 3rd game of their road stretch. Think about that dynamic. You still got the Browns beating the Eagles, Fitness Warrior. Think about that dynamic. The Eagles coming off of their bye week at home. The Browns are going to be going into their 3rd road game. You still got the Browns beating the Eagles while the Eagles are at home, Fitness Warrior. You still got them winning that game. I beg to differ. So I got the Eagles. Beating the Browns. Going into week 7, 5-0. I got the Eagles being 5-0 at that point. Let's go back to the Eagles schedule. So then you got the New York Giants. Let's go to the New York Giants. But Fitness Warrior, what does that mean, though? What does that mean? Our offense just went through good defensive teams. What does that mean, though? What are you saying? Because the bye week is everything now, when you think about it. The bye week is everything now. The Browns, they're talented. They have an elite defense. They have a talented offense. But will Nick Chubb be back? Will Deshaun Watson play up to par with Amari Cooper and David Njoku? They have a good offensive line. I just feel like they're going to be hanging on by a thread come that third road game. And that's how you catch teams. But we can agree to disagree. No big deal. All right, let's go on to week 7. The New York Little Men. I got that as a win. No question about it. I got the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Giants. Let's just call it what it is, man. The Giants, they're not a good football team whatsoever. Their jerseys suck ass. Please tell me y'all saw those nasty ass jerseys that they revealed today. Their D-line did get better. Coming off of the bye week, I disagree. You're coming off the bye week. You're ignoring the bye week, Fitness Warrior. The bye week gives you time to recoup, to gather yourself. The defenses the offense went through is going to mean nothing once the bye week hits. You're going to be fresher. You're only 4 games deep. They're going to be fresh. The Browns are going to be winded. But again, we agree to disagree. No big deal. But the Giants, those jerseys are so trash. But CZ brings up a very good point. I'm more concerned about the turf in that game. I'm more concerned about the turf than the team itself. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Giants. When I look at the Giants roster, they're just not a good football team. Daniel Jones, not good. They brought in Devil Singletary, but I feel like he's a better running back when he has someone else running with him. That's pretty solid. I don't know if I trust Devin Singletary as my 3-down back. So you got Daniel Jones at quarterback, not good. The Eagles got the advantage at running back with Saquon Barkley versus Devin Singletary. The Eagles got the advantage in the wide receiver room, not even close. But they did draft Malik Neighbors. I'm curious to see how that goes. They got Darren Waller, but will he be healthy? It all remains to be seen. Andrew Thomas at offensive line. Will Evan Neal have a better year this year? I just think the Philadelphia Eagles got them cooked on offense. And then the defense, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. They got better their pass rush got way better. Their pass rush got a major upgrade with Brian Burns. They also have Azeez Ojulari as well. And they did bring in Jalen Mills to play safety. But I just think the Philadelphia Eagles are just better than them, top to bottom. It's not even a question. I think they're better coached. I think the Eagles are more talented. I just think the Eagles are just going to crush them. I'm more concerned about the turf. So I got the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Giants. And that puts the Philadelphia Eagles at 6-0. So let's go to the next game, right? Let's scroll up a little bit. So I got the Eagles beating the Giants, going 6-0. Week 8, you got the Bengals. I think that's a loss. I think the Eagles catch their first L. I think the Eagles catch their first L. And they're 6-1. Now, I understand the Bengals. They're a talented team. And I know they're going through some contract disputes with T. Higgins right now. And they did lose Joe Mixon. So what's their running game going to be like? The Bengals do have their own questions to answer. But they have and Joe Burrow coming off of the injury. What will Joe Burrow be like? But they have Joe Burrow, they got Zach Moss, and they got Chase Brown, who was Sidney Brown's brother. Zach Moss is a solid running back, not top tier, but he's solid. He had Zach Moss had a real good season playing with the who was that last season he played with? He played with the Colts. He had a really good year with the Colts last year. His best year of his career. Zach Moss had a real good year with the Colts last year. But they got Jamar Chase. They did franchise tag T. Higgins, so he's still on the roster. So Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. They lost Tyler Boyd, though. So their wide receiver 3 took a hit. They got Mike Gesicki at tight end. Not bad. Offensive line. Orlando Brown at left tackle. But other than that, and they got Trent Brown at right tackle. Still, I feel like their offensive line could use a lot of their offensive line is still a work in progress. They still have to prove it. Then on defense, you got Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson at the edge, Jermaine Pratt, Von Bell, Sheldon Rankins. That defense, I personally think the Bengals defense doesn't get that much credit. I think the Bengals defense is better than what people give it credit for. They just don't have explosive names. But I do think if I got the Eagles going 6-0 through week 7, I think if they're going to catch their first loss, it might be against the Bengals. I think if they catch their first loss in the first 8 weeks, it's going to be against Cincinnati. And again, the Eagles are going to be on the road, and it'll be their second home game. Exactly, Cam. That Bengals defense is better than what people think. That defense played well last year. They have players on that roster that do very well at playing their role. But I got the Bengals. I got the Bengals winning that game. So as of right now, I got the Philadelphia Eagles going 6-1 through the first 8 weeks. I got the Eagles beating Green Bay, beating Atlanta, beating New Orleans, beating Tampa Bay, beating Cleveland, beating the Giants, and losing to Cincinnati. Let's go to week 9. That's just the Jaguars. That's going to be the homecoming for Dougie P. Well, I mean, he came to Philly last season, or the season before that. Excuse me, the 2022 season is when he made his homecoming to Philly. But he'll be back again. So Jacksonville. I got the Eagles beating Jacksonville. As a reminder, you guys, I had the Eagles prior to the schedule release. My estimate was the Eagles may go 11-6, 12-5. That was my estimate. Let's see if my prediction holds up as we go week by week. But I got the Philadelphia Eagles beating Jacksonville. Jacksonville lost Calvin Ridley. They replaced Calvin Ridley with Gabe Davis. I think that's a downgrade by every stretch of the imagination. Trevor Lawrence, how healthy will he be coming back into the season? He's coming off of an injury-riddled 2023 campaign. Trevor Lawrence, will he be able to hold up? They got Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis. Christian Kirk is a very, very, very good wide receiver. Not tier 1, but definitely tier 2. Gabe Davis, I don't think he's a tier 1 receiver. I think he's a bottom half tier 2, upper half tier 3 wide receiver. They also got Brian Thomas at wide receiver, drafted him in the first round out of LSU. That's going to be a player that we want to watch. They also got Devin Duvernay as well. So their wide receiver room may not have a tier 1 receiver, but they have a bunch of solid number 2s and top tier 3s. Then they got Evan Ingram at tight end, who's really had a great resurgence to his career playing in Jacksonville. But that offensive line for Jacksonville, still very much a question mark, especially knowing how many hits Trevor Lawrence took. On defense, they brought in Eric Armstead from the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Eric Armstead, he's an OG in the game. He's 30 years old. The 49ers felt like they didn't want to pay him. So how much will he have left in the tank? They got Devin Lloyd, a very, very good player. They got Ronald Darby at corner, Trevon Walker on the edge. They got Josh Allen on the edge as well. That defense is talented. But I got the Philadelphia Eagles winning that game. I just think top to bottom, the Eagles are just more talented than them top to bottom. I think the Jaguars defense has a little bit more cachet, but I think the Eagles defense by then is going to be much better come week 9. So I got the Philadelphia Eagles winning that game, which will put the Eagles at 7-1 at week 9. 7-1. So I don't think Trevor Lawrence is ass at all. That's just my opinion. But anyway, through the first 9 weeks, I got the Philadelphia Eagles going 7-1. What do you guys have them going? S. Blunt has the Philadelphia Eagles going 7-1 through the first 9 weeks. Fitness Warrior has the Philadelphia Eagles at 5-3. Corey has the Philadelphia Eagles going 5-3 through the first 9 weeks. Philly Flyover has them at 7-1. Okay. All right. Forest Hill says 6-2. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, here's the thing. We have to stop talking as if we're going to know the answers to some of these questions right now, right? We're all guessing, we're all having fun here, but we can't keep talking about, oh, has the defense been testing yet? We know they haven't. The defense has to prove themselves, but we're making educated guesses here. So although I think the Philadelphia Eagles defense has a lot to prove, I think they're going to be able to win. I think they're going to be able to go 7-1 through those first 9 weeks because of that offense, because of what Vic Fangio is going to be able to provide. I just think the defense is something that we're going to monitor it, but I'm not going to stress about it today. I'm just not. I can't stress about that defense today. All right, Patrick Frank had 8-0. Patrick, Patrick 8-0. Chris Scott says 7-1. Cam Holmes says 7-1. Forest Hill says 6-2. JT Temp 7-1. Corey 5-3. Not mad at it. Fitness Warrior 5-3. Not mad at it. Not mad at it at all. Not mad. All right, so yeah, I got the Eagles beating Jacksonville. All right, let's keep this thing going. Also, if you guys haven't already, please make sure you smash that like button. I would really appreciate it. Appreciate all the love and the support. Make sure you guys continue to stay locked in. Hit that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed. All right, let's see. All right. Now the Cowboys on the road in Jerry World. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I got that as a loss. I got the Philadelphia Eagles losing to Dallas on the road. So by week 10, I got the Philadelphia Eagles at 7-2. It's par for the course. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Cowboys They split every year. It's par for the course. I think unless Dallas just goes through some sort of crazy implosion. Dallas is in an interesting situation because although they're a talented team, what's the temperature going to be like in that locker room with Dak Prescott? Or, let me ask you guys this question. Is there any world or any situation where you look at the Cowboys schedule and you say to yourself, okay, you're going to be on the road against San Francisco, you're going to be on the road against Atlanta, and then you come back home against Philly? Is there any situation where San Francisco and Atlanta softens up the Cowboys? Cowboys got a tough stretch, man. Week 6 through, man, the Cowboys' first half of their schedule is gnarly. Let me ask y'all a question. I'm about to show you guys the Cowboys' first part of their schedule. Look at this Cowboys schedule. Through week 10. Going into their week 10 matchup against the Eagles, what do you guys have the Cowboys record being at that time? Through week 9, what's your educated guess on the Cowboys record? Before they play the Eagles, what do you guys think their record will be? Fitness Warrior says 2-7. So I'm assuming you have them beating the Giants and beating what? Eddie Holmes has 4-3. CZ 2-7. Donnie 4-3. JT Temps is 5-3. Cam says 5-3. Philly Flyover says 3-4. Fitness Warrior says they beat the Giants and the Saints. Interesting. Danny D says 4-4 for the Cowboys' first 9 weeks of the season. 4-4. James Jones has him going 2-5. That's only 7 games, James. You're missing one. Coach, my man Corey has him at 4-4. Okay. So you got them. So you guys basically had them losing to Cleveland, losing to Baltimore. They're not losing to the Giants. So you guys had them losing to the Browns or losing to Cleveland, losing to Baltimore, losing to Pittsburgh, Detroit, San Fran, and Atlanta. I think they lose. I think they lose to Cleveland. I think they lose to Baltimore. I think they lose to Detroit. And I think they lose to San Fran. So I think I got them going 4-4 as well. I think I have them 4-4 or maybe 5-3. If they lose to anybody, it's going to be against Cleveland, it's going to be to the Ravens, and it's going to be to San Francisco. So that's 3 losses right there. I think they lose to Cleveland in week 1. I think they lose to Cleveland, lose to Baltimore, lose to San Fran. That's 3 losses. Maybe they lose one more to an NFC team. I think the Lions beat them. So I think I got them going 4-4 as well. And by then, I have the Eagles being 7-1. Hold on. If the Cowboys start the season 4-4 and the Eagles start the season 7-1, or even 6-2, that's a hell of a position to be in, is it not? Let's go back to our schedule here. So, where were we? I got the Eagles losing to Dallas, though. I do. It's a road game. I don't know. It's something. I just got a feeling. I could be wrong, though. But I just got a feeling. All right, let's go to week 11. Week 11. Fitness Warrior says, do you think the Cowboys can beat the Steelers at home? I think they can. I actually think they can. It's I don't think it's by a wide margin, but I think the Cowboys beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. That's what I think. We'll see how Russell Wilson fares over there, though. All right, let's see here. So week 11, we have the Commanders. Week 11, we got Washington, right? I got that as a win. Eagles are home. Eagles have been dominating the Commanders for the past 4 years. Corey says same. Yeah. I think, I don't know if we're agreeing, Corey, but I think you and I agree. Corey, are you saying the Cowboys beat the Steelers or the Steelers beat the Cowboys? Because I think the Cowboys can beat the Steelers, no matter the location. Like, I understand the Cowboys are our rivals and we can't stand them. We hate their fucking guts. But I think the Cowboys beat the Steelers. So as of right now, through week 11, after the Washington game, I got the Eagles being 8-2. Fitness Warrior has the Eagles at 7-4. S. Blunt has the Eagles at 10-1. Very optimistic, S. Blunt. Very optimistic. Yeah, but we dominated y'all over the past 4 years, James. Let's not really nitpick here. We dominated y'all over the past 4 years. It's not even a question. Not even a question. Y'all stole one in 2022, but we dominated y'all for the past. We've been dominating y'all for as long as I can remember. Let's see. I don't care what the score says. What's the win-loss column? Okay, cool. Got you, Corey. Got it. Let's see. JT Temp says Commanders wide receiver 1 will light us up. You talking about Scary Terry? Yeah. At this time, we were. It's a good question. It's a very good question, S. Blunt. Let's find out. This time last year, we were 9-1. We were 9-1 this time last year. 9-1. We were 9-1. After week 11, we were 9-1. Nine and one. Okay, S. Blunt. I see what you did there. S. Blunt, I see what you did. Okay. I see what you did there. All right. Hey, listen. This is what's so crazy about the Philadelphia Eagles season last year, right? They were struggling and they still found a way to go 10-1 through the first 12, 13 weeks. Like, that's crazy to me. They were struggling and they were still 10-1. That's crazy to believe. All right. So Washington Commanders, I got that as a win. Washington, they have made moves to improve their roster, though. I will give them credit. Washington is having a very, very, very interesting offseason. They drafted Jaden Daniels. He's going to be wide receiver. He's going to be quarterback one. They brought in Austin Eckler, a running back, with Brian Robinson Jr. I like that combo. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Luke McCaffrey. Not a bad wide receiver room with Diami Brown and Olamide Zaccheaus. Not a bad. And Jameson Crowder. Not a bad receiver room. Not bad. They got Zach Ertz at tight end. Who knows what he has left? Offensive line, still questionable. On defense, they brought in Dante Fowler Jr. They got Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen. They did draft Johnny Newton, right? They got Bobby Wagner as well. Will Emmanuel Forbes take that next step? What about Benjamin St. Juste? So the Commanders got better. The Commanders got better. So I'm not going to sit here and dismiss the Commanders, right? They got better, but I think the Eagles still beat them. You guys aren't there yet. Now, granted, come week 11, what will Jaden Daniels be at that time? What will be the health of both teams, right? That's something we have to consider that. I think the game is going to be competitive for sure, but I think we win the game. So I got the Eagles going 8-2 through the first 11 weeks, beating Washington. There are 2 losses come against Cincinnati and Dallas. So they're 8-2. All right, week 12, the Rams. That is a very interesting game. I'm going to be honest with you guys. That game is hard to call for me. I don't know. Now, granted, we did beat the Rams last year in LA. And typically the Eagles, or typically with the Rams, they don't have home games for some reason. They don't have a real fan base in LA. Will Matthew Stafford be healthy by that time? Will Cooper Kupp be healthy around that time, right? They lost Aaron Donald. That's a huge loss for them. Fitness Warrior got him as a tie. Fitness Warrior, you got us tying with the Rams? No way. You got us tying with the Rams? That's a tough game to call, though. I'll be honest about it. That's a tough game to call. I don't think that game is easy to call as it seems. But I like the Eagles' odds in that stadium. I like our odds in that stadium. We've done it before. We can do it again. I never said Kupp sucks. I felt like he's overrated. I never said he sucked. I never said that. I think Kupp is a top 10 receiver. I just don't think he's as good as other people say he is. He's a top 10. He's a top. Now, let's not be dismissive here. Let's not be dismissive, Barbara. Let's not be dismissive here. I never said he sucked. Never said that. If you're going to quote me correctly. Got a lot of content out there. Never said he sucked. I just don't think he's as good as what other people make him to be. Still top 10, though. So, I mean, in the NFL, if you're a top 10 receiver, that's not a bad place to be. But I don't think he's top 3. That's just me. So, again, if you're going to quote me correctly. That's all. I like Cooper Kupp. I like Puka Nacua. I like those players. But I just don't think Cooper Kupp is as good as people make him out to be. On top of that, he can't stay fucking healthy. So what's the point? What's the point? As a matter of fact, let's check the receipts here. Let me make sure I got this stuff correct. Let me just look at his career. Like, yeah, when you watch him, he's a talented player for sure. He's a talented player when you watch him. It's not a question. So Cooper Kupp hasn't been dominant or as dominant as we're used to seeing since 2021 when they won the Super Bowl. Ever since then, 812 yards, 9 games played, 737 yards, 12 games played. He's a really, really good receiver. But 2021, we're in 2024. Live in the present, Barbara. Live in the present, Barbara. We're in 2024, not 2021. We're in 2024. Four. I think he's a great player, but I don't think I can think of wide receivers that I would take over him. Let me put you that way. I can think of about 5 receivers that I would take over Cooper Kupp. That's just me. It's just, and again, it's my opinion. Just my opinion. That's all. That's all. Just my opinion. That's all it is. That's all. just my opinion, Barb. But I got the Eagles. Y'all funny, man. I do got the Eagles winning that game, though. I got the Eagles beating the Rams still. Although it's a road game, they lost Aaron Donald. I got the Eagles winning that game. But it's all love, you guys. You know how we give it up here. Barbara, I appreciate you being a good sport. I really do appreciate that. I really appreciate you for being a good sport. Thank you, Barb. It makes the show fun. But I got the Eagles going 9-2 at that point. So I got the Eagles beating the Rams. I got the Eagles beating the Rams, man. I'm trying to stay focused. Y'all funny. Chevy Blake says the Rams has what you don't, and that's a very great head coach. We desperately need one. What's the use of Nick? Space holder? Our head coach is a joke, and the league knows this. I mean, we beat them last year with 2 shitty coordinators and a so-called bad coach, and they're less talented. Hey, Chevy, just to make sure we use your language, right? They have a great head coach in Sean McVay. You're absolutely right. He's a great head coach. But remember, we played them last year, right? And granted, last year was last year, but let's just kind of think about it in perspective. We beat them last year. We were not a good football team, if we're being honest. We beat them with the coach that you don't believe in, with 2 coordinators that got fired. You feel me? I understand what you're trying to say, Chevy, but I don't know if it lands when you really cultivate all the details. Sean McVay is great. Matthew Stafford is a really, really, really good quarterback. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, that duo, insane. But. We did beat them in their house last year. They lost Aaron Donald. Right? So that's a big hole to fill. And to your point, our head coach sucked, and we beat him with 2 coordinators that got fired. So I'm just saying. Well, we didn't play them in the playoffs, so we don't know that. You know, I don't want to play the hypothetical game. I mean, we are kind of playing hypothetical with this whole exercise, right? But, you know, regardless, I mean, it's an opinion. It's whatever. We can agree to disagree. No big deal. No need to harp on it. I appreciate you, Shay, for always locking in. I really do. No need to harp on it. I appreciate your opinion. And you do make a valid point, though. The Rams came on in the second half of the season. They sure did. That's a valid point. But I still got the Eagles. I still got the Eagles winning that game, though. Millie says, why can't Anias become our Puka Nacua? Well, for starters, Puka Nacua, just so you know the measurables, Puka Nacua is 6'2", 205. Anias Smith, 5'10", 180, soaking wet. Like, come on. So you know, it's you know, that's a tall ask. No pun intended. That's a tall ask. And Fitness Warrior, you're also correct. We never know. We never know. Anything is possible. Everything is plausible. So week 12, Eagles beat the Rams. So I got us 9-2. Let's go to week 13. Week 13, that is the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, the Baltimore Ravens. Sorry, Philadelphia. I got that as a loss. I got the Eagles losing to the Ravens on the road. That will put the Eagles at 9-3. Yeah, man. I'm sorry, man. Baltimore, that team is a force. That team is a force. And I got the Philadelphia Eagles losing that game. Sorry. Don't mean no harm. I'm an Eagles fan. But that Ravens team, top to bottom, they're legitimate. They're very real. Chevy brings up a very interesting concept. She says, Ravens lost so many pieces. We're going to lose to a team that we least expected to happen to. That is a very interesting take because I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think we're going to lose to a team that we least expect as well. But this is all wishful thinking here. This is all wishful thinking. You know? Oh, shoot, my fault. S Blunt, I'm tripping. My bad, S Blunt, I'm tripping. Thank you, S Blunt, with the $2 donation, my man. I really appreciate you for reminding me and investing in the channel. He says, beat the Rams, then injuries and some dysfunction. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right, man. Thank you again, S Blunt, for donating to the channel. But I mean, but still though, right? Still though, there's going to be a situation. There's going to be a situation where we lose to a team that we weren't supposed to lose to, and we beat a team that we didn't expect. Right? It's going to happen. I just don't know what it looks like. But I got the Eagles being 9-3. 9-3 going into week 14. So week 14, we got the Carolina Panthers, right? Let's be honest about this. That's a www.asswhooping.com. Come on now. Carolina, I'm sorry, I'm not taking them fucking serious. Sorry. www.whoopyourass. www.belttooass.com. Not buying the Panthers. We don't believe you. We don't believe you. Not even going to waste my time talking about the Panthers right now. Cameron Holmes says Miles Sanders getting his revenge? ? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. As of right now, I got the Eagles 10-3 at this point. 10-3. I got them 10-3 at this point. All right. Bo says, not gonna lie, I wish Miles was still in Philly. You win some, you lose some. Chevy says, I have a feeling we've beaten the Cowboys twice. You think so? You think so? I mean, like, it's not impossible or improbable, but like, I want to be realistic, right? I want to be realistic about that. But I think the Eagles dominate Carolina. By the way, Carolina's coming to Philly. I think the Eagles dominate them. And think about it. By that point, by week 14, the Eagles' offense and the defense, we should know exactly what it is by that point. That's another thing we got to keep in mind, right? We should know exactly what that Eagles defense and offense is by week 14. Barber says Dallas is sinking and Jerry knows it. Wait, do you think Dallas well, they're not going to say it, but do you think Dallas low-key tanks this year? Fitness Warrior has the Eagles losing to the Panthers. Wow. Wow. I'm going to start calling you Fitness Jester because Warriors don't talk like that. Sorry, Fitness. I'm not jacking that one. I'm not jacking that. You sound like the Fitness Jester. You don't sound like Fitness Warrior. Come on. You're better than this. The Carolina Panthers, though, when they just traded Brian Burns, their best defensive player. Come on, man. We smoking on that Carolina Zaza. Nah, Cam, we don't smoke cigarettes. You smoking that Doja. We smoking that Doja. We ain't. Yo, Will, I ain't gonna lie. I went through a crazy I went through a black and mild phase in college. Black and mild. I went through a black and mild phase in college. Wine, wood tip. What? When I was in college, man, wine flavor, black and mild wood tip. Oh my God. After a long night of drinking, what? You step outside the bar, you light up that wood tip. Yo, motherfuckers start flocking. Yo, Tone, let me get a tote. Let me get ahead of that, bro. let me get a tote of that, bro. Forrest, you was smoking a pack of miles almost every day. Were you committing suicide? What? That's suicide, Forrest. Come on, man. Ooh, Jazz. Oh my God. Gooby, I forgot about Jazz was the work. Jazz was that work. Yo, Bruce. Bruce. Hey, Bruce, you spitting chill. Bruce, you spitting chill, bro. Hey, Bruce. Hold on, wait. How it go? Hold on. Let him cook. Hey, Bruce, I'm gonna let you cook, bro. Hey, everybody, clear the lane. Clear the path. Hey, Bruce, I'm gonna let you cook, dog, because you preaching. You preaching, Bruce. I'm gonna let you cook, though. Oh my God. All right. Let's go into what is this? Week 15. Week 15. We are home against the Steelers. We're home against the Steelers. What's remainder in the schedule? Ooh. Millie Fee says Susie Greenberg. Oh man. Well, what's good? You already know, man. I appreciate you. Fitness, James said purple rain, baby. Let's see here. So there's 4 games left. Mm. I think the Eagles beat the Steelers. They've underwent some quarterback turnover. That offensive line still has a lot of improvement to do. They did move on from one of their wide receivers. What was his name? Was it Deontay? Was it Johnson? Deontay Johnson? Is that his name? Let's see here who they got in the roster. They got George Pickens, Van Jefferson, Roman Wilson, Russell Wilson at quarterback. They did improve the offensive line with Troy Faltanu. They did do that. Joey Porter Jr., Alex Highsmith, Patrick Queen. I forgot they had Patrick Queen. Wait, Kyron Johnson. Is that what I think it is? Oh, wow. That's our Kyron Johnson. I didn't know that. Huh. Anyway. Minka Fitzpatrick. Dante. Oh, man. Yeah, that. I got the Eagles beating the Steelers. I got us beating the Steelers. So that puts us at 11-3. Okay. So as of right now, I got us at 11-3, losing to Baltimore, losing to Dallas, and losing to Cincinnati. I think we're going to go 2-2 in the AFC North. I think we beat the Browns and we beat the Steelers and we lose to Baltimore and we lose to the Bengals. I got us at 11-3 right now. 11-3. All right. Washington. And this time we are on the road. We are on the road at Commanders Field. You know what? Funny enough, I think we lose to the Commanders right here. Funny enough, I think we lose to the Commanders right here. I got this weird feeling. You never know what may happen, injuries or whatever. So I got the Eagles losing that game. Yeah. Fitness Warrior is hilarious. He said, I got us going 11-6-1, and then we win the Super Bowl. So you got us winning the Super Bowl with a wild card spot. Well, JT Temp, just to keep it in mind, that quarterback is not there anymore. The Eagles DB room has improved, but I still think that's a loss. I think the Eagles lose to the Commanders. That would put us at 11-4 with 2 games left to play. So week 17, Cowboys. I think we win that game. That puts us at 12-4. And you end the season with the Giants at home. I think we beat the Giants at home. And that puts us at 13-4. So as of today, what's today? The 16th, 5, 16, 24. So remind you, as a reminder, prior to doing this and prior to the schedule being released, I had the Philadelphia Eagles going about maybe 12-5, 11-6. Based off of what I just did here, I had them going 13-4. So this is still kind of on par with my thought process. I think the Philadelphia Eagles, at worst, are 11-6 football team. I think at worst, the Eagles are 11-6. And at best, I think they go 13-4. Are you guys rolling with that or what? So at best, I got the Eagles going 13-4 at best. At worst, I had them going 11-6. So let's just recap this thing, right? Let's recap what I have. So I had the Philadelphia Eagles beating Green Bay in week 1, beating Atlanta in week 2, beating New Orleans week 3, beating Tampa Bay week 4. So I had them going into the bye week at week 5. I had them going into the bye week at 4-0. I had them coming out of the bye week beating Cleveland. One of the main reasons I have them beating Cleveland is because of the fact that Cleveland is going to be on their 3rd game in their 3-game road stretch. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to be coming off of a bye week. So therefore, I think the Philadelphia Eagles can take advantage of a tired, over-traveled Cleveland Browns team. And with all that road travel, all those road games, your defense or the Cleveland Brown defense is going to slow down. They're not going to play with the same intensity or speed. Trust and believe that. So I got the Philadelphia Eagles beating Cleveland, that's 5-0, beating the Giants in week 7, and then losing their first game to the Cincinnati Bengals in week 8. That puts them at 6-1. Then I had them beating Jacksonville in week 9, putting them at 7-1, but then I had them losing to Dallas in week 10. That puts them at 7-2. Then I had them going on a 2-game win streak, beating Washington and beating the Rams in week 11 and week 12, respectively. That puts them at 9-2. Then I have them losing to the Ravens in week 13. That puts them at 9-3. I had them going on another 2-game winning streak, beating Carolina and Pittsburgh in weeks 14 and week 15, respectively, improving their record from 9-3 to 11-3. I had them losing to the Washington Commanders in a nail-biter in week 16. That puts them at 11-4. And I have them finishing the season strong on a 2-game win streak, beating Dallas in week 17 and beating the New York Giants in week 18, respectively, improving their record from 11-4 to 13-4. So at best, I have the Philadelphia Eagles beating, or I'm sorry, at best, I have the Philadelphia Eagles going 13-4, and at worst, I have them going 11-6. And I think that's very, very reasonable. What do you guys think about that? Barbara says, sounds about right. Will says, all jokes aside, he says, all jokes aside, I think we can have a great season if they clean up their houses a bit. Might have another party with some hardware. Just a thought. It's very possible. MJS says, I can't be mad at that. Fitness Warrior says, 10-6-1 underdog season. Winning the Super Bowl. Yes, sir. Jalen Hurts MVP. Saquon Barkley, Super Bowl MVP. I don't know if they're giving out MVPs to 10-6-1 teams, but I like the thought. JT Temps has the Eagles at 5-12. Nick Wright is a cuck. Okay, like he's like I've never seen someone so overt with their Eagles hate. He's so overt with it. And I hate, or let me not say hate because hate is a strong word. I don't like the personality he's become. That's my humble opinion. I think Nick Wright has I think he's become something else. Ever since he separated from Chris Carter, ever since he became like the league, he's become a different person. I used to like Nick Wright. I'm not a fan of Nick Wright anymore. I used to be a fan of his. He grew his hair out and all of a sudden he talking crazy. I used to be a Nick Wright guy. I'm full transparency. I used to be a Nick Wright guy. The moment he started growing his hair out, he started talking crazy. He started talking crazy out the mouth. Soon as he started growing his hair. Is that what happens? Is that what happens when people go through a glow up? They start talking crazy? I don't know. Oh no, don't worry, Barber. He doesn't bother me, but it's just something that I acknowledge and that I'm open about. I was a big Nick Wright fan, and then I don't like the announcer he's become. I don't like the personality he's become. So yeah, at best, I had the Philadelphia Eagles going 13-4. At worst, I'm going 11-6. As Blunt says, I think we are at best 14-3 and at worst 12-5. Okay. Okay, you and I are literally a game off from each other. That's not bad. Danny says I wouldn't be mad at 12-5. I mean, we went 11-6 last year. So I think they could definitely stand to improve. And the schedule was harder last year. MJS says, I think 12 wins. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. MJS says we will host a playoff game. Mark it. I like it. Fitness Warrior says money doesn't change people. It reveals them. Remember that. Very good point. Very good point, Fitness. I couldn't have said it better myself. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I couldn't have said it better myself. Talk soon, Barbara. It's always good to see you. We're actually going to be ending the show soon. So thank you so much, Barbara, for showing love. But I always appreciate going back and forth with you. Even though sometimes you could be a pain in my hide. But I appreciate you and I love you, Barbara. You already know it's love. Thank you so much. Kyle Kokorski says, Tone, I think 10 or 11 wins at worst case scenario. Yeah, I agree. I think at worst they're 11-6. Look, man, this offense is too talented for them to be worse than that. That's just my humble opinion. They're too talented to be worse than that. I think the defense is going to be something that gets better as the season goes. Listen, we should know exactly what this defense is come the first Dallas matchup, actually. I think we should know exactly what this defense is come Dallas week. Week 10, week 11, we should know exactly what this defense is. Look, wouldn't you guys agree with that? Eagle Slayer, yes, it is Super Bowl or bust. But week 10, week 11, wouldn't you guys say we should know exactly what this defense is by that point? I feel like that. Same thing with the offense. MJS says we definitely improved and Dallas got worse. They might have serious drama there. And who else in our division will be a serious team? I think the Commanders have closed the gap on the Cowboys and the Eagles, but they're still not good enough. I think the Commanders have gotten better, but they're not good enough. Fitness Warrior says, all trolling aside, I got us going 12-5 plus minus. I'm going down 11-6 because one of those first 4 games will be an upset. Not mad at that. Not mad at that, Fitness. Not mad at it at all. But look, you guys, that's today's show. I really appreciate the love and the support, man, especially to my people holding it down on the Twitter side. My ex-family. Thank y'all so much for always showing love. You guys are always great. Shout out to my YouTube family as well. Shout out to my man S. Blunt for donating to the channel. I appreciate you, my man, for always investing in the show. means a lot to me, and it goes a long way. Always appreciate it. Kyle Kokorski says, Tone, I think the Eagles can beat the Bengals if Burrow is out again. Well, I think they can't. Here's the thing, right? There's not a game on this schedule that the Philadelphia Eagles can't win. But because the NFL was a very, very tough league, they're going to lose some games. And I'm guessing about which games they lose and which games they win. But in my humble opinion, there's not a game on this schedule that the Philadelphia Eagles can't win. Not a single fucking game. Every game on this schedule is winnable. They don't have to play the Chiefs. They don't have to play the Niners. You know what I'm saying? Annette, thank you so much for donating to the channel. $1.99, thank you for donating. She says, Ravens L, Bengals dub. So you got us beating the Bengals and losing to the Ravens. We're right with that, right? We agree about the Ravens. The Bengals, I think that's a coin flip game, but I think they lose it. But regardless, though, I don't think there's a single game on this schedule that the Eagles can't win. And thank you again, Annette, for the $1.99 donation. And like 757 CJ said, and Johnny Mac, this is a very good point, CJ. Very good point. You get the luxury of the startup period or the startup cost going early with the young defensive players. The sky's the limit. Keep it up, Tone. Dallas sucks. Go Birds. You already know how we give it up, big dog. I appreciate you. But very good point, CJ. I did not think about breaking it down like that. Because the schedule is set up the way it is, at least in the first 4 or 5, or at least the first 7 weeks, right? The first 7 weeks, your toughest opponents are going to be Green Bay and Cleveland. And even then, Green Bay is still a team that has to prove themselves, right? And Cleveland, in my opinion, although they had a very good run last year, they had a very good run last year. Their quarterback, in my opinion, still has a lot to prove. And they're coming off of a 3-game road skid or road trip. I just feel like in the first 7 weeks, the toughest games you have are Cleveland and Green Bay, and you have a bye week. That's favorable. That's favorable. Your first 7 weeks, your toughest matchup is Cleveland. And then it goes Green Bay, and then maybe Atlanta, and then Tampa Bay, then New Orleans, then the Giants. That's how I would rank them. So I think the Philadelphia Eagles, there's not a single game on this schedule that I think the Philadelphia Eagles can't win. But again, because the league is tough, they're going to lose some games. S. Blunt with another donation. He says, here's another shout out. Welcome back. Hey, listen, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, S. Blunt. Always showing love, man. Always showing love. Thank you so much, my brother. Kyle Kokorski says, in my opinion, Tone, the defense needs leadership. I think you're right. I also think the leadership is low-key in the build. I think CJ is coming in wanting to be a leader on defense. You got BG, obviously a leader on defense. Darius Slay, I don't know, maybe. But I think CJ is coming in wanting to be a leader. I think CJ has been through so much in his career over the past 3 seasons. I think he is looking to be that mature leader on the team while still maintaining his edge and his tenacity. So I think that's going to be really interesting as well. But I think the unsung hero on defense from a leadership perspective is going to be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is going to be an unsung hero on the defense in terms of leadership. I think he's being overlooked from a leadership perspective. Now, again, I know he's a very spunky player, plays with a lot of tenacity, has a lot of edge to him, a lot of swagger, a lot of juice to him. But I think he's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. He's back in Philadelphia. He wanted to be here. I think he knows this is a clear opportunity for him to cement himself as a leader on his team. And also, I think he's just matured at this point. Fitness Warrior with the $5 donation. And you're right, BG is still here. Fitness Warrior, thank you, my man. He says, remember, the Joker is the strongest card in the deck. Stay safe, everyone. Always a great show, Tone. Fitness Warrior, thank you so much, my man. I appreciate you for always showing love. I even appreciate you for being an asshole. I appreciate it so much, my man. You guys are awesome. You guys are great. And I do not take none of it for granted, man. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. Peace, love, and blessings to all of you guys. Peace be upon you. Love be upon you. Blessings be upon you. Well wishes and fortune be upon you. And it's straight like that. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. Wow, messed up my whole name. Let's try that. Let's try that one more time. Me. I've been your humble and your gracious host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys have been locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.